So you're here because you're interested in creativity, right? Yes. Super. So help me out. What is creativity? I'm going to cold call. Who's going to answer? What's creativity? What's that? Fresh thinking. Okay, what else? What's creativity?
Solving problems.
Solving problems. Over here. What's that? Expressiveness. Having an open mind. Weird stuff. If I went around, yes, do you have one more? Doing something in a new way. If I went around and required every single one of you to give a definition of creativity, we would get that many different definitions. And this is a huge problem. This is in sharp contrast to other fields like physics or math or biology or even music. They all have a shared vocabulary that everyone understands, a set of relationships, sort of like this, right? Physics, mass times acceleration equals force. We all know what force and mass and acceleration are. We know what the relationships are. That's why we can build buildings like this and make rockets. Every single week, for the last 17 years that I've been here at the Stanford Technology Ventures Program, somebody comes to me and asks, come on, can you really teach creativity? Can you teach innovation? Can you teach entrepreneurship? And I realize it's this lack of structure that leads us to believe that you can't teach these things. So a couple of years ago, I decided that I was going to put a stake in the ground and create a framework that would help me understand the relationships between imagination and creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, and create a way to make it easier for me to teach this topic, easier for people to learn it, easier for people to master these skills. So you want to go with me on this adventure? Great, perfect. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start with imagination. Now, very simply, imagination is envisioning things that don't exist. You buy that? Does that work? Okay, guess what? We do this all the time. Some people think they're not imaginative, but that is just ridiculous. Okay, you imagined what it was going to be like when you came back to Stanford today. You imagine if you're going to the airport later, you have to imagine what it's going to be like in order to prepare. You imagine what you're going to have for dinner. You imagine what it's going to be like when you go on a vacation. This comes naturally to all of us. You go beyond imagination to creativity, and this is applying your imagination to solve a problem. Again, we do this all the time. Think about, you're hungry. You open up the refrigerator and you say, how can I use my ability to envision what doesn't exist, like a peanut butter sandwich, to solve my problem? Okay, yes, it can be simple everyday problems, but we're creative all the time. We're using our ability to envision things that don't exist to address the problems in our lives. But those solutions might be new to you, but they're not new to the world. That's where innovation comes in. Because innovation is applying that creativity, those abilities, to come up with a unique solution. And this is quite important. People tend to conflate the terms imagination and creativity. They conflate the terms creativity and innovation. And this is a missed opportunity. Because if you say, hey, guess what? Creative ideas are new to you, but innovative ideas are new to the world, you've created a way for you to know, is this something that's truly unique or something that I'm just copying others? Entrepreneurship takes it further. Entrepreneurship is applying the innovation to bring those ideas to others. And I call this framework, this hierarchy, the invention cycle. And the reason it's a cycle is because the end leads back to the beginning. In order to be entrepreneurial, you need to inspire other people's imagination. And we're going to talk more about this as we take this cycle apart. Because there's something very magical about this process. This process which is very similar to learning how to talk. Think about it. Babies naturally babble. They apply those sounds to make words, those words to make sentences, and those sentences to make stories. It's the same sort of hierarchy, right? You start with some basic skills like making noises, and eventually you're creating an amazing masterpiece, a story. The same thing is true with the creative process. You start with imagination, you build on that, become creative, you build on that, become innovative, you build on that to become entrepreneurial. But now that you have this framework, you can take it apart and you can look at what actually has to happen at each step in order to improve each of these skills. So let's dive in. Let's go back to imagination. Now, as someone who teaches these skills, I started out with a long laundry list of all the things you need for each of these steps along the way. And I realized it was way too much. So I squeezed it and squeezed it and squeezed it until I came up with one representative attitude and one representative action for each of these steps. Now, why do you think I had an attitude and an action? Why did attitude matter at all? Help me out. Why did it matter? Why?
Attitude is an incipient action, so it creates the direction.
Okay, so essentially attitude is required to actually get the action. Okay, your mindset is incredibly important here. This is a very complicated and very demanding process. You might think of creativity as being something simple because on the outside it looks that way, but the process going on in your mind is quite complicated to come up with really unique ideas. And so you need the right attitude in order to unlock these skills. So let's look at imagination. Imagination requires engaging in the world and then envisioning what might be different. Now, the interesting thing here is that most people get that wrong. They think it starts with envisioning and then engaging. They think, I envision what I want to see in the world, and then I engage in making it happen. But it's actually the other way around. It starts with paying attention. It starts with active engagement. Let me give you an example, a very simple example. You could be a waiter at a restaurant. And if you're a waiter at a restaurant, every single day you can serve your customers and give them a cup of coffee with blinders on, not paying attention. But you know what? If you start really paying attention, you're going to notice interesting things. You're going to notice what days you get bigger tips than others. You're going to notice what demographics of people come in at different times of day. You're going to notice what type of foods people order. You're going to notice the special requests you get. Let's just go back to the tips. Let's say you're just interested in getting bigger tips. Every day you can do experiments to see what you do that ends up getting a better response from your customers. You would, as a result, become quite an expert on customer service. And you could parlay those skills to train others. You could become a consultant. You could start a business. You could start a new restaurant. You could start an entire career focused on customer service, starting initially by being a waiter at a restaurant. But most people don't do that. They go through life with blinders on. In fact, engagement is the master key that unlocks this entire process. If you're ever lost, you go back to engage. You pay attention. In fact, I'm sure that the world of improv, that's exactly the case. Pay attention, listen, open your eyes and ears, and some inspiration will come.
Yes.
Okay? And so I'm going to invite Dan to come up and do a little exercise with you that will help you unlock your imagination.
All right. Thank you, Tina. Excellent. Thank you. I'm so thrilled to get a chance to teach with Tina. Anytime I do, she is, as you can tell, she is one of the giants of creativity. I don't know if you heard in her intro, PhD neuroscientist, 17 books. I love it. Okay, so here's what I get to do. I'm going to share with you an exercise I learned almost 30 years ago. I want you to imagine right now that there's a box sitting on your lap. So actually put your papers down, anything that's on your lap, put it down, but look down and see that there is a box on your lap. Just pretend that that's the case. And it doesn't have to be a good box. Don't worry about that. Whatever box popped into your head, that's what's on there. Go ahead and feel the sides of it. Engage in what your imagination gave you. Define how big that box is. Go ahead, feel it. Pick it up and notice if it feels heavy or if it's sort of moving around. What does that box feel like? In a moment, you're going to open the box. And right now, you might be guessing what is in your box, but you don't actually know. You won't know until you open it and look inside. So I want you to go ahead and dig in, open up the box right now, and look in and notice what your brain gives you. Let it be the obvious thing that you first see in the box. And if you don't see anything, you can reach in and feel around and pull something out. Sometimes it's easier for your hand to grab a hold of it. And see what's in the box and pull it out. Go ahead, take it out and examine it. You're examining your imagination. Imagination should be as easy as perception. You're just looking at what you pulled out. What is it? Is it a piece of coral from the bottom of the sea? Is it a snow globe? What did you pull out? I want you to take a look at what you have. It doesn't have to be good or clever or interesting. Don't worry about that. It just has to be what it is. I want you to turn to a person next to you and tell them what you found in your box. Go ahead, describe it. Tina, I do have some things here if we need.
We're good. We're good. Dan, you could use them for I'm a tree.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, good. So let me know. Tell me a couple of things. What did you find in your box? Name some stuff. What did you find? Another box. There was another box inside. Who else? Anyone else find another box? Yes, this happens. Absolutely. What else? You found a picture puzzle. What was it a picture of?
Dog, cat, a couple other animals.
Yeah, awesome. Great. What else? Yeah. Oh, a piece of fake fur. A nice, soft piece of fake fur. Now there's an amazing, you didn't see this, but she looked really disappointed when she shared what she, it could have been anything. There's a funny trick. How did it happen? We don't know, but that's the beauty of it. One of the things that we teach improvisers is improvisers always get what they want because you can pretend to want whatever you get. Just pretend, go, oh good, it's the last piece of fake fur for my pelt. I can sew it in, right? You come up with a reason why it's great. What else did it, anyone else? Tell me about your experience, actually. When you looked in, did you see it for the first time? Did it surprise you? What was your experience? Yeah. Oh, it popped out. How exciting. That's great. Did anyone else have something that moved when you opened it? Yeah, what'd you have?
I had a baby dinosaur.
Yeah.
It was really scary at first, but when I picked it up, it actually ended up being really delicate.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, a couple more.
Like an image of a scene of a place I traveled to, and then it
Wow.
came out as like this flexible screen.
Ooh, awesome. Yeah.
So I had a box of used bolts. They were kind of
Use bolts.
and before I opened it, they were like,
You could tell. You got an auditory cue. I love that we can, if you're not sure, if you're not getting a visual cue, wake up one of your other senses. That's why it works for me sometimes to reach my hand in, because it's tactile. Here's the deal. There's always something in the box. If you're not sure what to do, open the box and pretend to reach in and pull something out. And then we can start playing with it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dan.
Sure.
Great. Okay. So you can, it's all day long, you can just keep pulling more things
Yeah.
out of that box, okay? Because guess what? Your imagination is a completely renewable resource. There's no end to it. So now you've engaged with the world, you see some interesting things, right? I mean, we're tripping over problems all day long. If you were keeping a little bug list of all the problems in your life, probably each day there are lots of things. Wow, there's a crack in the sidewalk here. The air conditioning isn't working. Whatever it is, there's a long list of problems that you come up with during the day, as you're engaging in the world and envisioning what might be different. At some point, you get to a problem that really strikes your fancy. And you go, this is one I actually want to solve. Right? And now you move to the creativity stage. The creativity stage is where you now have engaged with the world and you see something that you want to tackle. And creativity requires two things. It requires motivation and experimentation. Now the nice thing is you only need a little bit of motivation to do a little tiny experiment. And the results of that experiment lead to more motivation. And then that increased motivation leads to a bigger experiment. And this is a wonderful little cycle in the creativity stage. But one thing that's a problem is that many people don't actually think about what motivates them. They go through life as puzzle builders. These are people who got the jigsaw puzzle? Okay. They go through life as puzzle builders. Now, I'm sure that's a lovely puzzle, but imagine if you view everything as a jigsaw puzzle, right? Someone gives me a jigsaw puzzle. It's got a picture of the Eiffel Tower, how lovely. I dump it out. I start putting together the pieces, right? This is something someone else designed for me. And what if I'm missing a piece? What happens if I'm missing a piece of that puzzle? What happens? I can't finish it. And what happens? I get frustrated. These are the people who say, I'm sorry, that part is out of stock. I'm sorry, the person we need is on vacation. You know these people, right? There are none of them in this room, right? Okay? It's those people who basically find excuses. Puzzle builders are those people who are looking at someone else's picture of the world, and when they hit a barrier, they stop. Truly creative people are not puzzle builders. They're actually quilt makers. A quilt maker is someone who has a goal of what they're trying to accomplish, and they use all the pieces that they can find in their environment, right? All the things they can pull out of their box. And they put them together in really interesting ways to come up with something that's even more interesting and definitely more unique to them. So, Dan, you going to come up and help us figure out how to create a patchwork quilt?
Let's do it. All right. I love the moment when, I like when you get a laugh from the audience, but I love when like Tina says, patchwork quilt, and the audience goes, ooh. The metaphor is so good. All right, here's what we're going to do. Imagine you have a challenge. This is the we'll put it in this context. So this is the last final hour of Stanford Connects, of the whole program. But it was so successful that the Alumni Association is looking at how can we push connecting even further out into the world. We want to take our brand and we want to do even more to help people connect. So you have a task right now, which is to come up with some new ideas for ways that we can help encourage people to connect at Stanford and beyond. And what you're going to use as your source is the thing you pulled out of your box combined with what your neighbor pulled out of their box. So you have 1 minute right now to talk to them about what ideas could come from adding those two things together. 1 minute. Cool.
I think we're doing great on time.
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
No, we're doing fine because we only did 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we've got
And
40
already,
minutes. We're good. We're good.
Okay. I'll let them talk for a minute.
Because I pulled a lot of stuff out of this
You did.
presentation
Yeah.
to leave more room for them, so we're going to be good.
I want to hear what some of that, we'll just talk about what some of the ideas are. Maybe I'll put them into little groups of 4 or 6 to tell each other what ideas they came up with. Okay. I just want to keep track of how long I told them I would do it.
Or else you can just have some group share out.
have
You
some group
decide.
share out.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
You're the pro.
Okay. I went to high school with Victor Wyckoff.
What's that?
I haven't seen him in 30 years.
Actually, interesting. I'm going to, since I think we have time, I'm going to add something into my...
Okay.
Okay, it's good. It's all good.
All right. So that was a very fast exercise. I wonder if there's any pairs that came up with some interesting nugget or idea that you'd like to share. Yeah, what did you guys come up with? What did you start with?
Okay, in my box, I had a little miniature version of the universe.
Yeah.
And my partner here had depression glass from her mother wrapped in tissue paper.
Okay.
So we just tried to make the connection, and it just hit us that here we are at Stanford amidst intelligence and wealth and opportunity, connected directly via University Avenue to East Menlo Park, East Palo Alto, which is made us think of depression glass, and it's depressed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's depressed, and it's also, but it's beautiful.
So the idea is to package a Stanford education to reach the people in these depressed areas. And it's all over the world as we learn today. If we can make that microscope and do it.
Awesome. We got it. Cool. Yes.
So I had a box in my box, and my partner had a picture frame
Yeah.
in her box. And what we thought would be fun was for her to take a picture of one of her favorite people from Stanford and put it in the frame and then put that in my box.
Yeah.
And send it to that person with an instruction for that person to change the picture out to
Yeah.
their favorite people.
Yeah.
Send that on to them
Awesome.
so that it would continue around and connect everybody in an unexpected way.
Terrific. What's another one? Yeah, over here.
I had a bunny rabbit,
Yeah.
and my partner, who's apparently not a member of PETA, had a bottle of wine and said, having alumni who don't know each other have a cooking class together.
Of course. Of course. Great. Yes. Yep.
say Stanford brings together people with different backgrounds.
Yeah, great. Great. I want to talk about this just for a couple minutes on more of a meta level. So how was that experience? You just made a patchwork quilt from something you had pulled out of your imagination moments before. How did that go? It was fun. What else? What else? Tell me more. Yeah.
It was very unfamiliar, to not to be critical,
Yeah.
to want to go with my idea, but to
Right.
go with theirs.
Yeah, yeah. That was an unfamiliar state for you. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
I like the collaboration.
The collaboration is exciting, isn't it? So this is what we toy with when we play as improvisers. It's possible to be a solo improviser. In fact, there's a really challenging scene that sometimes everyone gets very scared when they draw this assignment, that they have to act out a scene all by themselves. Because we're practicing learning how to accept other people's offers and take their ideas and run with them and build on them and go with it. And what you really have to do if you're gonna build a scene on your own is you almost have to detach from yourself, and you have to come up with an idea, and then you have to accept your own idea. And then you have to say yes and to whatever you did and just say yes and to it again. But we can't, I find that it's very hard to train people to do that immediately. And so we start by training them to accept other people's ideas. It's easier to accept something that came from outside because there's not as much ego involved. But that's it. Remember, it's not about you. So this is one of those techniques for getting it off of you and out into the world. Yeah.
I wonder when you do this with students or any other group, that what comes up every time is they take something out of the box which they're already thinking about. In other words, you're really destined to take this out, and that's what they'll carry on with. Is that what usually happens?
I wouldn't say it usually happens. I say it's not impossible that it happens. So one of the things we do is we take lots of things, because then you get past the one that you already thought of. If you try to not take the thing that you're thinking of out of the box, it'll stay in there. And it'll be in there every time you reach in. So sometimes we have to take it out and then find what's underneath it. Yeah. Great. Very nice.
Super. Okay, wasn't that amazing? What things you created with this patchwork quilt? And I'm going to guess that those ideas you came up with, some of them were a little bit unusual, but some of them were things you could actually implement, right? And so you came up with these very cool ideas that were very, very interesting by just pulling random things together like a patchwork quilt. But the wonderful thing is you also want to do experiments to test those ideas. And I want to introduce you to a concept that we use in our class. I see some of my students here. I might have to cold call them. Okay? And what is the way that we test ideas? What is it called? Is it Yes, prototyping. Okay, prototyping is a concept that was developed by a close colleague of mine, Alberto Savoia. And the idea is that oftentimes when we test ideas, we're testing to see if they can work, if they will work. But the real question is, are you working on the right idea? There's a very subtle but important difference, right? I might say, can I build this clicker? Well, yes, I might build it, and I can do it well, but is it the right thing to build? Will people actually use it? And so the concept of prototyping is to do super early little experiments to test to see if you're even going in the right direction. Let me give you an example, a very simple one. How many of you have seen the movie Minority Report? Some of you. I actually have not, but it doesn't matter because I've seen the trailers, and in the trailer, Tom Cruise is using a computer, right? There's a big computer on the wall, and he's controlling the computer. It's famous scenes, right? He's controlling this computer and all this data on the wall. Wow, that sounds really great. We should go out and build that computer, right? Well, let's do a quick prototype of this. I want each of you to put your hands up, okay? And I want you to control the computer like this. How long do you want to do this? Ta-da, that was a prototype. We're not making that computer. We didn't have to go through and hire anyone. We didn't have to do anything fancy. All we had to do was take one of the variables that was an interesting one we needed to test to see if it was a viable idea, and quickly we learned it wasn't. And in fact, that idea of failing quickly is very important, because think how much money we just saved, okay? And how much time and how much expertise we can deploy on something else. And there are tons of ways to do prototypes, and it's a wonderful set of exercises that you can use every day in your life to test to see if you're actually doing the right thing. And so if you, with a little bit of motivation, you do a little experiment, a prototype, the results of that leads to more motivation, and again. But essentially, at some point, you have to say, now I'm going to push through the ideas that are just interesting to the ones that are truly innovative. The ones that are not just new to me, the ones that are new to the world. Like you guys came up with a cooking class. Really fun. But there were cooking classes, right? How could you do a cooking class that was totally radical? That's where you want to come up. You came up with something creative, but it wasn't innovative. Let's push forward. And this is what I spend most of my time in my classes doing, focusing on how do you unlock innovation. And the key to this is two things. Focus and reframing. Well, what is focus? Focus is essentially the idea of saying, now this is a problem that I'm going to make a priority. I'm going to take my attention and focus my attention on this problem because I really, really care about it, so that I can at that point start looking at it from different perspectives. Let me give you a simple example. 5 plus 5. What's the sum of 5 plus 5? 10. Come on, a little louder. 10. Great. How many answers are there to that problem? One answer. Okay, you guys are really smart. Stanford alumni, we knew that, okay? Great, hire all of you. Is there a way to answer this question or to teach this math concept? Is there a way to teach this math concept without having one right answer? Yes, how?
9 plus 1.
Okay, so you could have different numbers, okay? In fact, what you're saying is this. You're basically saying, what are the ways to get to 10? How many answers are there to this? Infinite number. Isn't that amazing? Negative numbers, fractions, decimals. We went from a problem with one right answer to one with an infinite number of solutions. And this is the key to innovation, is to looking at problems from different perspectives. In fact, Albert Einstein is quoted as saying, if I had a daunting problem to solve, if my life depended upon the solution, and I had 1 hour to solve the problem, I would spend the first 55 minutes framing the problem. Because once the problem was framed correctly, the answer would become obvious. Let me give you a sample right now. Who has a birthday today? This week. Somebody has a birthday this week. Okay. Oh, I can't pronounce your beautiful name. Can you say it?
Chin, like your near.
Yeah, Chin.
Chinere.
Chinere. Okay, Chinere. Did I do it okay? Okay, Chinere. Okay, we met earlier, so I knew that her name was very beautiful and hard to say. Okay, Chinere, when's your birthday? May 15th. Okay, great, just a couple days ago. We could spend the next hour brainstorming on the best birthday party for Chinere. Would that be a good idea? Great, okay. But what if we change one word in that prompt? What if we say, instead of planning a birthday party, we're going to plan a birthday celebration? What happened to the set of solutions? Wasn't it amazing? What if we changed another word? What if we said, instead of planning a party or a celebration, we're going to plan, well, let's just figure out, let's Chinere, we want to figure out a way to mark her birthday. What happened to the set of solutions now? It got even bigger, right? Maybe she wants a statue on the quad. Would you like that? Okay, one of the burgers of Calais, right? We'll add you over there. Okay, Chinere over with the burgers. Okay, the point is, this is the most profound thing I'm going to say. The question you ask is the frame into which the answer will fall. Meaning the question has the answer baked into it. So if I say we're planning a birthday party, the assumption's a party, right? I gave a talk the other day at Genentech, and I said to them, you know, guess what? If you say, how can we develop a drug to cure this illness, your assumption is that what? That it's a drug, right? Maybe there are other ways to cure the illness or to prevent the illness that might be more effective. You need to question the questions you ask. In fact, in our class on creativity and innovation, the students have to do a frame-storming exercise before they start brainstorming. The idea is you brainstorm around the question before you even start answering it. So let me step back. So I've been teaching these classes at Stanford for 17 years. And just a few years ago, I decided to experiment, along with lots of other people, with MOOCs, teaching online courses. And I taught 3 online courses on creativity, one called A Crash Course on Creativity. And I taught the students online, 50,000 students around the world each time, all these tools for creative problem solving. And then I would give them a problem. And the problem would be very simple. Often the problem I give is one word. Right? In our class, was our project was one word? One word. They have to frame-storm around that problem. And so let me give you an example. The problem might be pets. What are all different frames of problems around pets?
How to walk your dog.
How to walk your dog, right? Or how to make sure your dog gets walked. Yeah. Okay, great. What else? Odor. Pet odor. How do I get rid of pet odor? What's that? Potty training. How do I potty train the pets? How do I get a pet? Or what pet do I get, right? Yeah, who else?
How do we make sure all the animals who need owners have them?
What's that?
Like adopting.
Adopting pets. What do you have one?
How do I love them?
How do I love a pet?
Why would you want a pet?
Why would you want a pet? Okay, great. Reasons to have a pet. Okay, we could go on, and we could come up with tons of frames for that problem. Well, here's what I would do. So each team would have to come up with a frame for a problem around pets. Okay, and then they'd have to brainstorm around that problem and come up with at least 100 ideas. Wow. Sometimes they go, that must be a typo, and I go, oh my gosh, you're right, it was supposed to be 1,000. Okay, the point is, why do they have to come up with at least 100? Why? It's because the first ideas you come up with are going to be creative, but they're not going to be innovative. They're going to be expected. If I had you come up with 500 flavors of ice cream, the first 150 are going to be pretty expected. Okay? It's only when you push past the expected ideas, and this is a huge problem. People often do this. I mean, always do it, right? They come up with this is why you have to keep pulling things out of that box. The first things you're going to pull out are going to be expected. Yeah, the ones you know are in there. Then you're going to say, wow, a diamond ring. Oh, now, wow. You know, it's like you pull out the things you expect to be or you hope are in there, okay? And then you get to the real interesting ones, okay? And so they have to come up with at least 100 ideas. They have to pick a few of them to prototype and test, and then they have to present their favorite idea. Do you want to see an example of this? Yeah. So I'm going to show you a short video. I always have my students present in videos because it gets their ideas down to a very clean and easily communicated presentation. So this is a short video, 1 minute long, when the prompt was pets. Okay. Great. Well, I'm going to get Dan to come up here, and he's going to help us with an exercise on reframing.
All right, here, and I might need some help from Matt and Malika from the back over there. Great, give these guys a hand. They're back. Get them back on stage. All right, so here's an exercise that we explore sometimes. that involves reframing. It's a really simple one. I'm going to have one of you start by posing on stage as a tree and say, I'm a tree.
I am a tree.
And that's it. That's all he has to do. There's not a great deal of creative expression demanded of this. I just want him to say, I'm a tree, and then be a tree. Now, Malika is going to join this scene, and her job right now is just to be obvious. It's an incredible thing about creativity is you don't have to try to be original. In fact, if you try to be original, you'll just end up sounding like everyone else trying to be original. So dare to be obvious. That's one of the tricks. So Malika's going to say, well, what goes with a tree? In her mind, what's obvious? What would go with a tree? And then she's going to be it and pose as it and then say what she is. So go ahead and be that.
I am some leaves.
Good. So now actually what we're building is a 3-element scene. So there's a third thing that fills this out perfectly. The thing, again, just be obvious. Think what would go with a tree and some leaves. What's the third and final thing? And actually, as you all think of what it is, I want one of you, rather than saying it from your seat, I want you to come up and pose with them and be it and say it out loud when you're up here with them. Just be obvious. What's the most obvious thing that you can imagine that fits with a tree and some leaves? You got it, Chris? Come on up.
I have wind.
Nice. Good. All right, good. And then we can freeze in the image of them blowing in the wind. Good. Let me ask this. Did wind come up in anyone else's mind? A handful. Awesome. Was wind a surprise to anyone? Yeah. How satisfying, for people who thought of wind, how satisfying was it that he said wind? Like, yeah, right on. I thought of it. Yeah, nailed it. And then for people who hadn't thought of wind, how much did you enjoy wind? How well it fit with the leaves and the tree? So nice. It's a perfect example. All he does is he looks and he sees what's needed and he provides it. Sometimes, this took me a while to realize, when an improviser says what the whole audience is thinking they're going to say, the audience believes you to be brilliant. You don't have to trick them. All right, so you're the wind. Here's how the game works now. Matt was the first one, so pose as the wind again, Chris. And now Matt is going to actually leave. And he was the tree, he was the first one. And he's going to choose one of them to take with him.
I take the leaves.
And so he will remove with the leaves. And now we're left with a brand new starting point for a new image. We're going to reframe our challenge. Forget the tree and forget the leaves. Look at the wind by itself. Say again what you are, Chris.
I am the wind.
And now, I want you to picture what goes with wind, other than trees and leaves. Don't do a tree and leaf scene, we already did that. But what goes with wind, and be obvious. And if someone has something that they could be, come up and be it. Come on up.
A wind turbine.
Yeah, right. And now, we need what's the third and final thing to fill out this scene of the wind and the turbine? What would make this complete? Rather than say it, just come up and be it. Yes, it's you. Okay, good. Freeze. Did you say what you are?
A bird.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Now, you were the first one here, so you're going to leave and you're going to take one with you. Now, you'll say, I'll take the blank. You're not saying which one you like better. You're actually choosing which one's going to stay on stage to start the next scene. So which will you leave with? Say, I'll take the turbine. Perfect. You take the turbine, you guys leave, and now you start by saying, I am a bird.
I am a bird.
This is not the bird that's threatened by the wind turbine anymore. What goes with the bird? And we'll build this for a little bit. Let's run I'm a Tree for a little bit. Matt and Malika, you guys jump in when you see stuff. And anyone else who sees it, jump in. And what we'll do is we'll run for a little while. And then at some point, I'll tell you what we do, how we'll end it. Okay, say it again. I'm a bird. Come up.
I'm a picnicker.
There you go.
I'm the sandwich that's just a little bit too high.
All right, bird, who do you remove? Do you remove the picnicker or the sandwich? Yeah, sticks a sandwich. All right, so say what you are again.
I'm a picnicker.
What goes with a picnicker? Yeah, you guys, don't say it, just come be it. Everyone said it. Everyone would think you were brilliant if you came up and were an ant. Yeah, come up.
I'm a blanket.
Yes. Awesome. Picnicker, blanket. What's the final thing? Don't say it, just come be it. What's the third thing that goes with a picnicker and a blanket? Here he comes.
I'm the picnicker's date.
Yeah. Awesome. Picnicker, who will you leave with on the stage? As if I have to ask.
Of course, living with my date.
Yes. All right, so now the blanket is going to start a new scene. And remember, it's no longer a picnic scene. So say again what you are.
I am a blanket.
Yeah. What goes with a blanket? Remember, clear your mind, reframe. Yes.
I'm a roaring fire in a fireplace.
Fill out the scene. What is it? What goes with it? Anyone come up and be it. The thing that popped into your mind is probably the right one. Oh, we've got two coming, but we'll do it here. You be ready just in case.
Marshmallow.
Great. Roaring fire, who do you remove? No, I'm sorry, blanket, who do you remove?
I'll take the fire.
Take the fire. All right. So now we're going to start with a what? Marshmallow. Now, here's what we're going to do. In a few rounds, I don't know how many, it might be a couple, it might be a few, we're going to find an ending. But the way we get to an ending in I'm a Tree is we have the third and final person says that they're a tree. When it works, when it fits. Don't have the second person be a tree. That's very unsatisfying. It has to be the third one when it fits. It's not right away. We'll see what happens. Say again what you are.
Marshmallow.
What goes with a marshmallow? Come on up. Yeah.
I'm a Ghostbuster.
A nice reframe. And what fills out this image? The Ghostbuster and the marshmallow. Notice how you might have been thinking something else that you have to let go of now that the Ghostbuster's there. That's one of the great thrills of improvising, is no matter how good your idea is, your partner's idea is 1,000 times better. Just go with that. So what fills this out? Yes?
I'm the ghost.
Yeah. Good. Marshmallow, who do you take?
I'll take the ghost.
All right. Go ahead, Ghostbuster. Say what you are.
I'm a Ghostbuster.
Yeah. We're working our way back to a tree eventually, but what goes with a Ghostbuster?
I am the director.
And what goes with a Ghostbuster and the director? Third and final thing. Here it comes.
I'm the cameraman.
Yeah, right on. And so Ghostbuster, who do you take, the director or the cameraman?
I take the director.
All right. So cameraman, stay up there. Cameraman, start this next one. Say, I'm the cameraman.
I'm the cameraman.
Let's fill it out. What goes with cameraman? Come be it. Here we go. Yeah.
I'm a grassy meadow in Austria.
Yes. This is good, right? We know what's coming. Here she comes. Come on up. Here it is. She's on the move. She knows. Here we are. Yeah! Awesome. Thank you, guys. Cool.
Beautiful, beautiful reframing. How lovely. So now that you have your amazingly incredible, innovative idea, whatever it is, you need to bring it to the world. And in order to do this, you need to be entrepreneurial. And entrepreneurship requires how many things? How many things? Two things, okay? It requires persistence and inspiring others. Now, what's persistence? Persistence is essentially grit, right? It's all the things they teach in all of our other classes. Strategy, marketing, finance, organizations, all that type of thing that takes incredible amount of work in order to bring your idea to life. But one of the most powerful and important things you need is to be able to inspire other people. Because guess what? All of your ideas require others to help you. Entrepreneurship is like a barn raising. You need other people to join your team, other people to buy your product, other people to invest in you. And the fact is, if you don't have those, you're not going to be able to bring your idea to life. And this is important because most people are waiting to be inspired. They want to be inspired by someone else's idea, and they're waiting for you to inspire them. And one of the most interesting, powerful, and yet simple tools for inspiring others is being able to tell a compelling story. And this is why we teach storytelling in our classes. We make this a very key part of what we teach, is teaching storytelling to our students. Now, in the business school, you might call it a pitch, but essentially it's the same structure as a story. In fact, if you're defending your PhD, you're also telling a story, right? If you're sharing with an idea with your family about where you should go on vacation, you're going to tell them a story. And the story structure is quite simple. It was developed by a fellow named Ken Adams, and it's very simple. It's called the story spine. It goes like this. Once upon a time. Sound familiar? And every day. And basically what that does is set the stage for where you are now. You can add as much detail as you want. You can add lots and lots of color commentary, but essentially the picture of what your life is now. Once upon a time and every day. Until one day. And that's where the change happens. That's your intervention when you're basically pitching an idea, okay? Or in a movie, that's where, something happens that changes the plot. And because of that, 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 and that's all the consequences until finally, and ever since then. Now, it seems really simple, but it actually takes a lot of practice to do this well, okay? But what you're really doing is painting a picture of the way the world is now, your intervention of the consequences, and then a new place. You have to land in a new place at the end of the story. So let me take you on a journey. Just this last quarter, not this quarter, the one before, in my class on creativity, the project that the students were assigned was how to redesign the experience of going from prison to freedom. Now, I've been working up at San Quentin, teaching entrepreneurship there at a program called The Last Mile. Anyone here heard of The Last Mile? It's a really, really, really inspiring program where they teach men there. They have to actually be incredibly, work really, really hard to get into the program. And when they're there, it's a year-long program where they learn entrepreneurship. And of course, this is incredibly critical for them because once they get out of prison, they're very likely going to have to develop their own ventures because it's going to be much more difficult for them to get a job. Okay, and so what we did with the students is the students went up with me to San Quentin, and they taught there too. And they taught the things we learned in our class, they taught it to the men. And while they were there, they got to know these men, and they learned what issues they have about the process and the things they were concerned about when they were getting out. It might be things like housing, or getting a job, or getting integrated into the community, and many, many more. And so each team, they had to do a framestorm. They had to framestorm to generate the topic they were going to focus on related to the transition from prison to freedom. They then had to brainstorm to come up with at least 100 solutions, and they did pick at least one of them to share. And I'm going to show you an example of one of the submissions, one of the videos that the students presented from their team this last quarter. And the thing I want you to pay attention to is, first of all, I think it's very meaningful, but also the story spine. Even though they don't use the terminology story spine, and they certainly don't say once upon a time and every day until one day, they don't say that, you'll see it's baked into the structure of what they did in 90 seconds.
Prison is tough, but at least there are rules. The re-entry process is less secure. Recently released inmates lack basic necessities like housing, money, clothing, family, or job opportunities. Without guidance, shelter, or support, many former inmates feel trapped and fall into the same harmful habits that landed them in prison. These individuals need a point of contact, a level of consistency, and a modicum of emotional support to start over. Project Homebase is a host family exchange program created as an effort to incorporate life skills, a support network, and adequate shelter into a cohesive experience for recently released inmates. Upon re-entry into society, any inmate with no place to go is assigned to live with a local volunteer family. These families provide housing and help the individual gain life skills like budgeting, cooking, and resume building. More importantly, host families reinforce basic values like loyalty, honesty, and hard work, while providing a safe and caring space for these individuals to reacclimate to society. As the individuals gain employment and stability within their own lives, we hope they will pay the favor forward and teach others what they have learned along the way.
As you can see, the students learn not only a set of skills that they can apply in their everyday lives, but also skills that they can apply to really big problems that face the world. And the wonderful thing is that the end leads back to the beginning. I was going to say, here's the story spine. Here, so if anyone wants to look at it in words, right? Once upon a time, every day, until one day. And the fact is, the end does lead back to the beginning. Because once you're entrepreneurial, you inspire other people's imagination, which inspires their creativity and their innovation and their entrepreneurial spirit, which leads to wave upon wave upon wave of more imagination, more creativity, and more entrepreneurship. This is a very powerful force in our organizations, in our communities. Now, there's important things to point out here. First of all, not every person has to master all these skills, but every organization needs to cover all their bases. You need the imaginers who know how to come up with the big ideas and tackle the big challenges. You need the creative people who solve the everyday problems. You need the innovators who know how to break free and reframe and come up with really bold new ideas. And you need the entrepreneurs who know how to scale them and bring them to the world. An important thing also is to keep in mind is that you can short circuit this process. You can go directly from creativity to entrepreneurship. And people do that all the time, right? You start one more coffee shop, one more cover band. But it's a missed opportunity. And it's very important to know when you're doing that. Let's say you say, I'm going to start a new coffee shop. Well, guess what? You might say, fine, that's creative. Is there a way that we could make it innovative? Is there something we could do that will make it truly unique? Okay? As opposed to just doing something someone else has done before. This is a very powerful engine. And it's important to understand that once we have a framework like this, where we all have a shared vocabulary, we know the relationships between these concepts, and we know what we have to do, the attitudes and actions along the way, we now have a wonderful toolbox for getting many, many more ideas out of our head and into the world. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I invite Dan. Great, thank you so much. So I invite Dan to come up with me, and we would be delighted to take any questions.
Yeah.
The harder, the better. We're really good at improv, okay?
Yeah.
So the harder, the better. And what I also want people to think about, I'll call you 1 second, is that where you would find this framework useful, valuable, what was most surprising about it, okay? So I'd love to hear your comments as well. Yes?
What do you encounter as the major barriers people encounter?
Okay, so the question is, when I know they wanted people to go stand at these lovely microphones so it gets captured, but I'm going to repeat your question. What is the biggest barrier? I'm going to tell you what I think is the biggest barrier. The biggest barrier is the motivation piece. People think, A, they don't tap into their own motivations, they don't know what motivates them, and they also think they need to have a huge motivation to tackle a huge problem. But the key is you can start with a little motivation to get you started. People feel like, I don't know what to do, right? You hear people, I don't have a passion. You don't need a passion. Here's something very important. Before it's your passion, it's something you know nothing about. I'm going to say that again. Before it's your passion, it's something you know nothing about, right? You heard all these amazing Stanford professors speak earlier today. They weren't born with those passions. They got exposed to something, and that opened the door to them to lots more opportunities. And so all you have to do is go back to engagement. You engage with the world, envision what might be different, start doing some little experiments with the things that motivate you, and the rest takes off.
There's, Patricia Ryan Madsen, who I think she just walked out the door, my teacher and mentor when I was a student. She wrote a book called Improv Wisdom, which is a beautiful little book that gives you 13 maxims for an improvised life. And one of them is so powerful, and it's start anywhere. So valuable.
Exactly. Start anywhere. Yes, back here.
Have there been any studies on the relationship between age and creativity?
Oh, are there studies on age and creativity? Well, as I get older, I have to tell you, I think that people often use age as an excuse for not being creative. But if you think about it, the older you get, the more data you have. Your knowledge is the toolbox for your imagination. Okay, so the more experiences you've had in the world, the more you have to work with. So I would say the older you get, the more creative you get.
I don't know any studies. I sort of think of it like a baseball analogy. There's like the pitcher who gets older and his arm strength might not be as strong, but his guile at being able to pitch and craft a game gets better and better with experience. So I just count it like that.
Right.
But I think there's a prejudice in Silicon Valley.
Yes, but there's a lot of data that actually shows that most startups are actually started by people in their 30s and 40s. Even though the media loves to celebrate those people who drop out of school and are in their 20s, that's actually an exception to the rule, if you look at the data. Yes?
Do you have any tools or methodologies on how to manage creativity for remote teams?
Managing creativity for remote teams. Actually, one of the people on my team, one of my colleagues at Stanford, Pam Hines, does all of her research exactly on that. So you might want to take a look at her work. Pam Hines, back there.
So I listened to ETL on Thought Leaders.
Great.
I had someone come in from Britcode, They basically, I think she has a startup helping people do creative projects.
Uh-huh.
She talks about how people start off very creative when they're young, like children, and sort of as time goes on, we kind of learn to not be as creative, and then now we have this weird version of creativity that comes. Is there a way that we can use that process flowing all throughout?
Great. So the question is, we often think of kids as being really creative, and then it gets beaten out of them. How does it get beaten out of them? It gets beaten out of them in school, okay? Because in school, we were given lots and lots of problems that are, what is the sum of 5 plus 5? Right? You have multiple choice tests with one right answer. I deeply believe that the more problems we give that are open-ended without one right answer stretches people's imagination and gives them huge opportunities. The classes that Dan teaches and the classes that I teach are ones that are designed to open up people's minds and to stretch those muscles. Is there anything else besides learning languages? Is there anything else that you get worse at intellectually as you get older? Nothing. Why do we think that we should be worse at creativity? It's the environment that does it, and I truly believe we can change those environments to really unlock creative potential.
My first job out of school was teaching theater and drama and improvisation to middle schoolers, and I think it happens. 6th grade still has it. 8th grade doesn't have it. It's literally like Christmas break 7th grade.
Exactly.
And so I think it's really valuable to, that's my tool. My tool belt is the improv training across puberty.
Right. I have students who say to me in graduate school, I can't believe that I had to wait till graduate school to learn these tools. The things that we teach should be taught throughout the entire education system. Yeah. This is not something this was not rocket science. This is something that should be taught from the time kids are small. Yes? I write lots of books all about this, and I am delighted when people in schools all over adopt this. I just talked to someone beforehand from Russia who says he teaches these tools in Russia. Thank you very much. Great. Yes?
So, funny you should mention that, because I've envisioned a school of creative expression for this community. I've started one school, and I want to start a different one. And I have lots of ideas and innovation and so forth, and I just don't know how to move it along.
Well, so where are you? So one thing, this is really important. Where are you in this process, right? Are you in the imagination stage where you've just engaged in a vision? Are you in the creativity stage where you're starting to do experiments? Okay? Are you in the innovation where you're reframing, or are you in the entrepreneurship stage where you need to start scaling? And this vocabulary is very helpful for you to understand where you are and what you need to do next. And we're going to take one more question. Who has one more question? Okay, over here.
I'll use the mic since someone went to the effort to
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be very appreciative. But just pretend you're talking into
I
it.
have a loud voice.
Imagine it's on. Okay.
I can project, no problem. As a neuroscientist, we hear about the left brain and the right brain. And when I think of people that are analytical and work mathematically, have you found that they may have more difficulty with something with this kind of model?
Okay, so as a neuroscientist, I can say this whole left brain, right brain thing is a bit of a metaphor, okay, as opposed to something that actually is functional. So it's a wonderful metaphor that's very sticky, but it's, I mean, I don't know neuroscientists who really ever use that terminology. So the concept is, though, that are there different types of people who approach this differently? What there are people who feel very comfortable working in different parts of this framework. I was giving a talk actually at Stanford Sierra Camp, and it was the first time I gave the talk. I was sort of testing out these ideas, and one man there got very, very mad at me. He actually wrote me a long letter afterwards because he got very upset because he realized he was not very innovative or creative or imaginative, but he was an amazing entrepreneur. He loved taking other people's ideas and scaling them. And that's when I realized that I needed to say, everyone isn't going to do all of these. Everybody has to figure out what they do best and figure out how they fit into this. And so you're absolutely right. People are different. Isn't that what makes the world so interesting? Is that we're all so different? And for us to know where we fit into this. But I deeply believe that we can all get better. Just like we teach math and we teach music. Everyone isn't a math genius, and certainly everybody isn't a music expert.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
don't even know the word. I'm so bad at music, I don't even know what a musician.
There's a trick we use on stage with improvisers where I ask them to pretend that you're a great improviser, and then they end up getting better. Pretend that you're great at doing space objects, and they get better. Pretend you're a creative person actually seems to have an effect on how people score on tests of creativity.
Exactly. Anyway, this was so wonderful. Thank you for your enthusiasm.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.